this might be a very short one, um, but I feel compelled to talk about Mason Mount because I've been keeping this run of positivity, talking about Kobe Mainu, Amad Diallo, Diego Leon, Lenny Euro. Just from those four names that I just mentioned, you can kind of see where the positivity around this club is. And it is around the young players, because the players that are already in their prime and some of the older players, that's where the problem kind of begins. That's where the problems kind of begin. And with Mason Mount, it is no different. Now, my tone with Mason Mount will be slightly different than my tone with Sancho, Garnacho, and Rashford, as I've talked about in the past. And that's mainly because Mason Mount has dealt with a lot of injuries. It's been less him not wanting to play and him not being good enough, which, to be honest, he hasn't been good enough when he has played anyways. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to be good enough when you're in and out of the squad so often, which we'll get into more detail in a second. But yeah, the fact that he's dealt with so many injuries kind of changes my tone, and I feel really bad for Mason Mount. That's like one of the main points I want you guys to take away from this video. And the simple fact that although I'm going to, at times in this video criticize Mason Mount, I do feel bad for Mason Mount because at his apex, Mason Mount was easily one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. And when there were talks of Jude Bellingham this, Jude Bellingham that, I don't think Mason Mount is as good as Jude Bellingham, but he was definitely in that squad. He was there ahead of James Maddison. He was there ahead of James Ward-Prowse. He was there ahead of a lot of players, against the wishes of a lot of fans. But he done it. He was there. He was playing. And for the most part, he done a good job. He also done a good job at Chelsea. He done a good job at Derby before that. So Mason Mount has definitely had a track history of being consistent, of being hardworking, of being the type of character that we need at United. And that's why it was so exciting when he first came, because I thought finally someone that's going to be able to match Bruno's intensity. We quickly found out that that's not true, that Bruno is in a different tier when it comes to players at Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes is in a complete different tier. Bruno Fernandes is S-class, and everyone else is lucky to be in A tier or below, because Bruno Fernandes is in a different class of his own. And it kind of just made me feel a bit silly to have ever compared Mason Mount to Bruno Fernandes, because the longevity of Bruno Fernandes is second to none. But again, this is not a Bruno video. This is a Mason Mount video. The limitations that Mason Mount has had has definitely not helped him. However, try and kind of spin this around, I believe that we shouldn't try and get rid of him this season just yet, just because we won't get much for Mason Mount at the minute. With his injuries, we won't get much. So the best option right now, really and truly, is to play this season with Mason Mount, see where he is at. If those injuries continue, we have to let him go. It doesn't matter if we're only getting 5 million. We have to let him go. Like, his contract, how much we're paying him weekly, will not be worth it if you're not playing. But I still believe we should give him another season. He's not like a lot of players in this squad that I believe we should have gotten rid of yesterday. The players that I keep mentioning on my videos, I won't mention them again because I don't want to make it sound like I'm hating on these players. But you guys know, if you guys watch football, you know which players I'm talking about. The type of players that should be out of this club as soon as possible. But Mason Mount, I don't think, is one of those players. Again, the injuries he's dealt with kind of gave him a blank check. But that blank check is running out, and he should be able to come back into the squad and begin to perform. And that's where kind of this video begins to take a more positive turn, because I believe that if we get Mason Mount in his full performance, I don't feel like we'll get apex Mason Mount, unfortunately. But if you can get a competent Mason Mount, that is definitely someone who can drive the team forward, someone who can allow Bruno Fernandes to get a bit of rest, on those cup games. When we get to the 80th minute and Bruno Fernandes is very tired, someone who can slot into the right hand side or the left hand side and play a role there, someone who can play as a false nine. Mason Mount has a lot of great traits that we can try and add into this club. The attacking output has been awful, and I won't even look at the stats because I have looked, but I won't mention them because they're that bad. But his defensive work rate has always been good. I believe that is something that we can definitely use going forward. But anyways, guys, this was always going to be a quick video because there isn't a lot really to say on Mason Mount. But I feel like the discussion should still be had, although even though there isn't a lot to say, that discussion should still be had because he is a player at Manchester United. See, he is someone who's not been playing a lot, and he's someone who's getting paid a lot to just sit on the bench. So let me know in the comments if you guys think that he should stay, or if we should get rid of him this summer. Let me know in the comments, and as per usual, I appreciate you watching this video. I appreciate you watching this video until the end. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, share, do all these things to please help me grow this channel. As per usual, I'll see you soon, guys.